my seminar was to kind of set the tone for what Metanoia Tattoo Gathering is. And it's about appreciating where you are as an individual and not like looking to anyone else and what they're doing. Like you are on your own path and you are on your own journey, and you can't be comparing yourselves because you don't know what this person is.
All right, guys, welcome to Support Your Local Tattooer. My name's Austin Spencer. I'm super excited today. We've got Maribeth Klaar. Is that how you pronounce your last name, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
Yes.
thought. Okay, cool. She's an entrepreneur, a mother, a fantastic tattoo artist, an amazing illustrator, and working on some really fun, cool projects that we're looking forward to sharing with you guys. So,
Yes.
let's get going. Welcome.
Thank you for
This
having
is
me.
fun. If I get to my radio voice on, just kick me under the table. I always get nervous and I'm like, I get into my animated voice. So
We like animated voices, but don't worry, we can just be weird together. This is my first podcast.
So you're, oh, cool. That's exciting. It's mine too. So, all right, cool. So you're a Las Vegas-based tattooer right now. You, from what we talked about, you spent a lot of time tattooing around the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
And I kind of wanted to just really enjoy hearing people's origin stories.
Yeah.
Where you came from, how the hell you ended up in this wacky, weird industry. And
It was very unplanned.
Yeah. So let's start there. Like you mentioned that your husband was in the military, and that was like what led you into tattooing. Like, how does that work?
Yes. So tattooing was never my intention in life. I was your like Miss Goody Two-Shoes girl in high school. I did choir, drama, jazz choir, student council, volleyball. Like tattooing was never on my radar, like at all. But I was always an artist. I was always really into coloring and crafting and doing all of that kind of stuff. So I originally was going to college for hospitality. I was really into event coordinating and planning parties and things like that. It was something that I was really into in high school with my job on student council. So I actually got accepted to go to UNLV.
Student council? Shit.
I know. Planned the assemblies, the dances, all the good stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah. So I actually, in Oregon, applied to go to UNLV to do the hospitality program. I got accepted and I was going to do that. And then last minute, I just changed and decided to stay closer to home in Oregon to save a little bit of money and then transfer over. And during that time, I ended up taking a lot of like college art classes for my electives and just really fell in love with art on a new level that I had never really like experienced before. We were using a lot of different mixed media. My art teacher was super incredible and really like championed me and my interpretation of the assignments that she gave us. I guess I had a more abstract, like layered look to things. I don't know. I can't really explain. It was just kind of got really weird. And so I essentially just fell in love with art and felt like I really needed to move in that direction, but I didn't know what that was going to look like. And ended up deciding to do like, I was really in love with like the ads and the vibes of like Snowboard and Surf magazine and stuff. And I really wanted to get into like advertisement design for those companies.
Oh, cool.
So then I ended up getting accepted to go to San Diego State University to go in that direction. But very shortly after I was accepted, met my now husband, Joel.
Okay. Yeah, awesome.
And so that kind of put a pause on like all of my college adventures.
Yeah. And he's in the Air Force, right?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
yes. When we met, he was enlisted to go into the Air Force, and we decided to stay together. And long story short, once he got to his first base, I moved out there and we eloped and got married.
Dang.
Yeah, he was in Alaska, so we moved to, or I moved to Alaska, and we decided to get married. And like a lot of stuff happened in between and a couple deployments and things. And then eventually just decided that I would get into tattooing because it's a job that I could take with me anywhere.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yes.
It was like a logistical decision almost.
Yes, it was very logistic.
But you had your passion for art and everything, obviously.
Yes,
so,
yes. Thankfully, I was like really into art, but fell into tattooing as a result of like knowing that we were going to be moving a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No shit. Damn.
Yeah.
So all your family's in not Portland, in Oregon area.
Yeah, I do have a lot of family in Oregon.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's where you went to high school and stuff or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you ended up in Alaska.
Yes, that was our first base.
Okay. And that's where you started pursuing tattooing?
Yeah, so he deployed to Iraq. Like, we found out on our wedding day that he was deploying to Iraq.
Oh,
And
shit.
I know, it was such a shitty, wedding present. I think we were, on our way to Pizza Hut for, our wedding dinner. And then got a call and he had to deploy. So during his deployment, I worked in, this warehouse job. Because I wasn't in an apprenticeship or anything yet. We just knew, okay, at your next deployment, I would go pursue and try to find an apprenticeship somewhere.
Oh, whoa,
but during
okay.
his first deployment, I was kind of working my way up to that. And I was just working this random warehouse job. So it was he came back from Iraq within a few months, got orders to deploy again. And then that's when I moved back to Oregon since I had family there and I could live with them.
Yeah, that you weren't up there just by yourself.
So I wasn't in Alaska by myself.
Yeah.
And I did an apprenticeship in a little town called Newport, Oregon.
I don't know if they did this back in the day. I forgot. You do the what do you call it? You don't have to go to the school back in the day, right? You still had a traditional apprenticeship with an artist.
So actually, in Oregon, it was tattoo school, but my mentor didn't treat it like this big school where he was pumping people out.
Oh,
there was
okay,
only
okay.
probably 3 of us, so it really did feel like more of an apprenticeship.
Yeah,
Because there was only 3 of us, and 2 out of the 3 of us, they were already tattooing.
Okay.
The other 2 guys that I was there with.
You had all men too.
Yeah.
That's what year was this again? Because I forgot.
This
You've been
was
tattooing
2008, 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was still pretty fun.
It was really,
it was pretty gritty.
It was a tough time for me.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful for it because,
Yeah.
had that person not allowed me to work under him, I wouldn't be here today. And
no
no matter how,
you might have felt about that relationship or whatever, or maybe the skill sets that you were surrounded by. What I found is a lot of people tend to just, you take whatever way we can get in back in the day,
Yes.
and make the best of it.
Yeah. But then also, I didn't know anything. I was just.
Yeah, I mean, did we? Did any
I
of
was
us?
just but I'm just saying, I didn't have an appreciation and a reverence for the craft. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I was young and stupid, and I was just oh, this is just going to be my job. And I didn't have this intimate tie to tattooing that I think that you develop and you learn over the years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have this reverence and love and appreciation for the craft of tattooing because what it's pulled out of you and where it's taken you to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the freedom that it's given you. And so I didn't have any of that understanding or appreciation for tattooing. So there was a lot of oh, well, when am I going to tattoo? Or I deserve to be doing this right now. And a lot of that childish mindset.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like being
Yeah.
a parent or something.
Exactly,
The
exactly.
return on your parenting isn't until they're in their 30s. So
Exactly. So I know a lot of my maybe bad attitude about my apprenticeship, or it was more internal. I definitely didn't disrespect anyone around me. It was more of an internal attitude.
Yeah.
I look back and I'm I could have been tougher.
Yeah. No, I remember those type of moments too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, definitely.
It's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of fun stories about that?
Oh gosh.
Which there's got to be some positive, obviously.
Oh, totally.
Experiences out of that.
One thing that I really appreciated about my apprenticeship was my mentor was a clean freak. He was OCD about, preventing of cross-contamination and really taught me all of the really important cleanliness habits and the way that you're supposed to go about tattooing and cleaning and sterilizing and all of that. Although back in the day, that's when we were scrubbing tubes.
Yeah.
So he had this tiny ass little closet, it was nasty.
Yeah.
And there's a little sink in there and you're in full biohazard gear and you're
at least he had you in
scrubbing
there.
tubes.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But still you're just thinking it's it was
grody
a
as hell.
dark closet. You can't see anything. And you're in there with like
just
these
poorly
pipe
designed.
cleaners,
Yeah.
scrubbing tubes.
And heaven forbid nobody ever drains the autoclave or the what the fuck is it called? Why am I brain farting it? The little ultrasonic.
Oh, the ultrasonic cleaner.
Like,
oh yeah.
I worked with some people back in the day that it just never got drained, and it just turned into this swampy muddiness, and it was like, well, the apprentice has to deal with it, and you're just over there like trying to keep your mouth shut, and like,
oh my gosh.
I didn't ever dude, some of the guys I've seen them do some weird shit, like not even wear gloves and like pull shit out of the ultrasonic and stuff. It's so roguish. Okay. Well, at least you had that information just instilled in instilled in you. That's good.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. And then I'm just like at my shop, like, let's mat aside the floors.
Yeah. Yeah. Breathing in all of the goodness.
Yes. I'm like, I might have cancer because of how much maticide I breathed in over the years.
That's no good. We'll keep positive.
Okay. Yeah.
Keep doing my breathing.
It's just cleaning the inside of me.
Yeah. My mentor told me I had to start smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee to be a tattooer.
Oh.
But I neither one.
Well, I got the coffee part down, not the cigarettes.
Yeah. So what was your your first experience of doing a tattoo by yourself? Like, how was that? Or like, was your mentor somebody that was standing over you and making you shake while you were doing it?
I was a very nervous Nelly for sure. I was definitely one of those people when someone's standing over you, you're just like shaking.
Yeah.
But he would be like angrily tell me how good I was.
Yeah.
That's something I'll never forget.
Some passive
good
aggressive
fucking lines, Maribeth. And he'd be like telling me that I was doing a good job, but he'd be like sound all angry about it. And I was like, well, thanks.
Yeah.
But
So you said you feel like you could have been tougher, but you made it through it, right?
I did. Yeah. And honestly, it was like a really short apprenticeship. Like, totally. He worked with me on my timeline because my husband was going to be gone for a certain amount of time.
Oh, cool. You were all upfront about that and everything.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I said, my husband's gone from this time to this time. And when he gets home, I'm obviously my goal is that I would move back to Alaska to be with him like as soon as possible, and he understood that. And so we did like plan out the apprenticeship in a specific timeline.
Oh, that's great.
Which it was more of like a school curriculum.
Yeah.
But so he was really good with that. But it was like, in Oregon, it's tattoo school, so you pay. So, it was something that I paid for.
Okay.
It wasn't like a mentorship where it was like, I'll teach you my ways and then you're committed to working with me and for me.
That kind of made it
maybe.
Do you think that made it a little less personal of that connection?
I do think so. Yeah. It was more of a transaction.
Yeah.
And I think that like later in life is when I looked back on it more of like that really could have been more of a mentorship, or like I think it's more important to do more of a mentorship because I don't know. I guess I just have like a really different, like a greater reverence for tattooing now than I ever did in my younger years. So I'm just like a lot more sentimental about that stuff.
Yeah.
And I realized my apprenticeship just wasn't really that way, but that's okay,
Yeah.
I still really appreciate where I came from and like where I am.
Some of us grow up in better homes than others. But some of us that grow up in a really good home end up being assholes. And some of us that grow up in a really terrible home end up being some of the greatest people you've ever met.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What kind of like, did you have a direction of when like as far as styles that you were kind of really into when you were like starting out? Were you just like, this is what I want to do right off the bat?
No, not at all. Because back then it was like, we had like nothing to reference, right? It was kind of like what at least for me, like it was whatever was in my own head. But like, so I didn't come up in that like tattooer, like edgy punk rock world, right? Yeah. So like I didn't really know like where to pull any inspiration from, I guess, other than my own artwork.
Yeah.
And maybe that's normal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably really super normal. I don't really know for sure. But yeah, I really liked designing stuff that was my own artwork, which was really weird and abstract and like awkward. Yeah. And I didn't know how to design for tattoos, but that's kind of where I started and that was all I knew. So like I just kind of leaned that direction in my artwork, which
that's great. Worked out well for you.
It wasn't good.
I guess if your mentor wasn't helping you translate your ideas and direction, then and it didn't sound like he did, really?
Yeah, I mean...
Or maybe to like...
thinking like, I don't really know how to explain it. I guess he just was okay with me just drawing what I wanted to draw.
That's cool.
And I remember certain things like one funny thing that I'll never forget, and maybe other people did this too, but like he set up a pencil like with an actual tattoo machine.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I had to do all of my drawings.
Yeah, with the weight on there and everything. Yeah,
and I remember my thumb was numb for like 4 months.
Yeah. Dude,
I thought I was like permanently done for because it was so heavy. And I was like, I don't even.
The skinniest little, you know.
Yeah, no grip or anything. Yeah. I just can't even imagine doing that now.
Dude, yeah, I tried to go back to coils like not too long ago. And I got halfway through the tattoo. I was like, no.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about that the other day. I was like, I kind of like interested in like pulling out some of my old coils and just being like, yeah, I'm cool. And
they're beautiful. I'm gonna keep them on display. I have nothing but the most like I respect so much the craftsmanship of building a beautiful coil machine. But once I jumped into the rotary and then to the pen style machine, I was like,
it's like you're
sorry guys,
blasting through these tattoo sessions. You're doing like
8+ hours and
7 hours, and then you're just like your clients chill. They're like taking a nap, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna like have a little snack, and then I'll get back to it. I mean, it's mind blowing. Like I don't know how for so many years I ever did it differently.
Yeah, well, it's these days I see some of my old school tattoo friends that literally use coils for 20+ years. They're like, yeah, no. Once I tried that stupid pen machine, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm like, damn. Okay, you made the move. That's pretty crazy.
That's how I felt about when not my mentor, but like my business partner. I feel like he's my mentor, Chance.
Yeah,
because he's older than me and he's well seasoned. But like when he finally switched to a pen, I was like,
dang,
I'm legitimate now because he also uses a pen.
We can all do this together. Shit. I want to talk about Chance, but before we get into that, like, let's kind of like pop back into like where you started tattooing. So what did you do? Like after you got signed off for your apprenticeship, you were like, so you're just set free. You don't like, or did you try to work at that shop, or was that a thing? Or
no, like so much happened. Oh my gosh! So
this is why I like to get into people's stories, because we all really have these most super unique stories.
I know. It's really fun, and I wouldn't trade any of it. Right? Yeah. So I got my tattoo license, moved to Alaska because my husband came back.
Transaction was complete.
Hubby's
home. Let's go back to Alaska.
So we had base housing, and so I was like, I'm going to set up my tattoo shop in the basement.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you got a built-in clientele.
Yes, yeah. So which was totally illegal. You can't do that shit on base. Like, it's not okay.
I didn't think about
that. So anyway,
I
had but we had a huge basement. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I had like half our basement was set up as like a little tattoo shop. And, you know, obviously like I had very clean practices, right? Yeah. So I'm like treating it like it's a, you know, like super clean, my professional environment. I had all disposable everything. Like, you know, it was super legitimate. So no one had to worry about like anything when they were there. But still, it was basement tattooing. My table was like a fold out fucking like kitchen picnic table. I did my husband's tattoo. Like he's only been tattooed by me once.
Okay.
And he was laying on a plastic fold-out kitchen table, and it's a big tattoo on his ribs. And it was like, it was a Google image samurai. We were like straight up looking online. He's like, I want a samurai, and so we're just looking up found the coolest samurai. And then come to find out years later, we meet someone who has the exact same tattoo as him. Anyway, so it was pretty like messed up. But anyway, so basement tattooing in Alaska. And then someone told on me, right? So like I had to get out of there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do you remember that guy? Babe? I forgot his name. So ended up like trying to get a shop or trying to work at a shop in Alaska in Fairbanks because I was just outside of Fairbanks, Alaska. And I was rejected. The guy was like, you have to redo an entire apprenticeship with me if you want to work here. He wasn't going to let me like come in even though I was licensed. He didn't like my tattoo work, you know? Yeah. And so I think that as a business owner, he wanted to like retrain me or whatever. And so, but he was kind of a dick about it. But I mean, who wasn't at that point in time? So it was like, whatever. Some good friends of ours, really, really dear friends of ours had a house. They lived off base and they had a spare room.
Oh shit! Okay.
So we did some more. We set up shop again.
Yeah. And sounds pretty punk rock to me. You say you didn't come around that.
Right. Yeah. So I ended up setting up shop in there, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like situation. I really will
Build
forever.
Your space.
I will forever be grateful.
Oh, that's cool.
I got so much business. Like I started making money for myself and my family, and like that just helped us. Like in every. Like after we moved from Alaska to North Dakota, we had started building up a savings and stuff. Yet I started tattooing on base again.
Oh, okay.
So we went from Alaska, sorry, just like all over the place here.
Yeah.
We finished our time in Alaska. We got stationed in North Dakota, and we got a house. Well, first we lived in an apartment, and it was fucking small as shit, but was 2 bedrooms. And so one of the bedrooms we set up as a tattoo shop. And so in our apartment on town, and then we finally got a house on base. So I set up a tattoo shop on base, and then I think someone found out about that again, and I got told on again. And so all this really illegal shit in the beginning of my career. Awesome. Am I supposed to be sharing any of this?
Fucking it's even better. I've tattooed out of my house. I've definitely gone through that. Yeah.
So anyway, I did end up opening my very first private studio in North Dakota. Not North Dakota.
Okay. So you guys got transferred out there.
Right.
North Dakota.
Yeah. Okay. And so I opened a little private studio there. Right prior to that, I did try work in a tattoo shop in that town for about a week, and I had to jet out because it was
toxic as fuck.
Really nasty. Like just like answering the phone with a dirty glove. Like every day that I showed up to work, I grabbed the Maticide and the wipes, and I wiped down the entire freaking shop. And I was like, I can't do this. Like I had a daughter, she was brand new baby, my husband, myself. Like I can't be living and working in this environment. Like, that's dangerous. So I did. I found an open space that I could rent, and I had a little private studio.
Yeah. Well, shit, you brought up you have a new baby too. So I kind of want to hear about that, because that's like, I had my kids later on in life, and I was in a fortunate position where I already had a shop, and I was able to like manipulate my schedule a little better to allow them into my life. And let's go over that. Like, what's it like being a mom? First of all, how were you tattooing all while you're pregnant? Like
I was.
Yeah. Like, did you work all the way up too?
And I got pregnant in my first year of tattooing, so like I knew nothing, and I was gonna have to already like rearranged my whole life because I had this sweet baby coming. And so I was super pregnant. I got pregnant in Alaska, and she was born in Alaska, and I was tattooing up until like a couple days essentially before I gave birth. Probably my belly was super huge.
I'm trying to imagine.
Yeah,
like, my
I remember
wife,
I was doing that. My belly was so big, and I was tattooing this girl on the ribs, and my belly was touching her back, and the baby kicked, and she was like, did your baby just kick? Whoa. And I was like, yeah. She's like, that was the coolest thing ever. And I'll never forget that.
I wouldn't think, or she probably won't either. I mean, not too many people get to like, you don't let just strangers touch your belly when they're kicking and stuff.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm sorry, it's in the way, but it was.
Yeah, I was like, you're like using your belly as an armrest or something. Right. It's like built-in tattoo furniture, super soft.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So that was really cool. So when we moved to North Dakota, we had a brand new, we moved, she was like a month old, 2 months old maybe.
Yeah.
And we moved to North Dakota. So that whole situation was a hot mess. It has nothing to do with tattooing, but trying to get settled there and get a place to live. We were living in and out of like this hotel and like kind of this friend's house that was really terrible. Right. And like we had a brand new baby, and then it was crazy trying to get settled there.
Yeah.
We finally did, but yeah, I was a brand new mom and a brand new tattooer, and it, trying to balance that and try to grow my craft and also like learn how to not fuck people up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tattoo wise.
And you're still trying to translate your own illustration style into tattooing, which is a challenge. And at least all those people are scattered across the country.
Yeah, and they're still honestly
all mine still live in the valley or whatever. And I'm like, oh God, that's the worst.
No, these people though, like they still like will message me and like, you tattooed me in North Dakota and it's my dream to get tattooed by you again. It's still my favorite tattoo. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like,
I know. That's a beautiful thing about
loyalty,
tattooing.
You know? The reason those people, I guarantee, love those tattoos is because the experience I gave them. It's not the tattoo. It's because I like showed them that I cared about them and what I was doing, and I was enthusiastic about it because like my design work and tattoo execution was like I was a beginner.
It doesn't,
so it's like those people are loyal to me, I think, because of the overall experience.
Dude, I always try to teach anybody that's in my shop or anybody around me, really, like, just don't be a dick, man. This is like this should be a pleasant experience. Like,
yes.
And like you said, they're going to be more likely to enjoy that tattoo as long as you're sitting there trying your hardest and they know that and feel it. They're going to be stoked. Like 9 out of 10 times, they're forever going to come back to you.
I've had people, I'd be like, I'm nervous to do this, and they'd be like, you can do it.
For sure. Yeah. I've definitely done that.
You're like pulling
they're your own cheerleader.
And they're cheerleading you on and you're just like, oh, we did it. And they're like, yes. That's like my favorite.
For sure. I have very, very clear memories of that too. Yeah. And that's what's kind of fun too about, pushing yourself as an artist is like, if you don't fucking push yourself, you're never going to have those like memorable experiences and those transcending kind of I don't know, just the ones that just push you up to the next level. It's like super fun. That's rad.
Yeah.
Dang. So you were up in North Carolina, not North Dakota.
Yeah.
And then you came back to Oregon or whatever. I mean,
so it was Alaska, North Dakota. Then we got stationed in Vegas for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's where I opened another private studio. I was about 4 years into tattooing at that point, and I opened a private studio in Summerlin, which you can't have a tattoo shop in Summerlin.
No. Yeah.
So I had to go through all this bureaucratic crap.
Yeah.
I had to get I wrote to my city councilman, Bob Beers at the time.
Okay.
I was like, hey,
dang,
what's up, Bob?
So Summerlin proper, which is a master plan community.
Yes.
It's bougie.
Yeah. And I'll remember Bob Beers. Props to him. Just for this one situation. I messaged him. I said, hey, I'm a military spouse. I've been paying rent on this space. The guy who led me to this space, the realtor guy, he didn't apparently know anything about tattoo zoning because I had already signed my lease, done all my stuff, paid all this money, and then found out after I'd already started tattooing that I wasn't supposed to be there. I was brand new to the area, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I just got a notice from someone from the city came and was like, you're not supposed to be tattooing here. And I was like, what? And so I wrote Bob and I was like, hey, pull the military spouse card, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, we don't know. I'm not from here. Like, I want a motion for approval so that I can be here. I'm tucked away. I was inside Sola Salon. I wasn't like a storefront property, but they still had a problem with that. And so he messaged me back and was like, okay, we're going to put in a motion for approval for you. So we just had to wait 4 months because they only did it every quarter or something. And so went in, I had to wait. I was paying rent.
Damn.
In freaking Summerlin. At that time, it was $1,300 a month for 100 square feet of space. My thing was only 100 square feet.
Oh shit.
I had no
Which is the minimum from the health department anyway.
Yeah. And pretty much went broke trying to keep that place open. And then it got approved. So then I just started tattooing right away. And I had people on a wait list at that point. Because that was back when Yelp was actually legitimate, and people found me on Yelp, my website, everything. So people were waiting for me to start working. So I did have that going for me, which was such a blessing. And and then I worked there for 4 years, and then that's how we can segue into Chance.
Yeah. And so because was Chance your first friend in tattooing?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's
my first.
Yeah. So he is your guiding light and your mentor too.
Yeah.
Not that you need it, but it damn feels great to have somebody that especially as kind as Chance, super talented. So you guys met and then came together. How'd you guys meet?
I went to a birthday party and I met his sister that was there, and she was showing off her fresh tattoo. And I was like, some really nice line work.
Yep.
I was like, I'm kind of new to town. I have this tattoo that I really want fixed up. She was like, oh, this is by my brother. And I was like, would he be okay with tattooing another tattooer? And she looked at me like I was crazy. Well, yeah, of course. He's so great. And I was like, really? And so she gave me his info and I messaged him and he was like, oh yeah, I'd love to. And it was later, probably at least a year or two down the road before I ever got tattooed by him. But I did. And, realized, he's so cool. He was at another tattoo shop, red-handed at the time. And it was awesome. He made me feel super comfortable. He fixed up my neck tattoo. And we just kind of had stayed in touch. And then I had him, after I had my son, later on, I started getting a sleeve by him. And that's where we got closer because we had a lot more like sessions together and stuff. So we just kind of developed a bit of a friendship there. And then kind of fast forward, just some drama went down with the shop that he was at. And
yeah, I remember that.
yeah. And they were all locked out.
Yep.
Right. So he called me just to vent. He was like, and I remember like when he called me to vent, I was like, he called me? Like I was like honored that he wanted to talk to me about something like that. I was like, who even am I? Like I'm not anyone cool or awesome. And he knows everyone in town, right?
Yeah.
And he called me to vent and I was like, bro, I was like, just come work in my studio. Like I worked during the day and I knew that he worked afternoons. So I was like, well, I don't work late into the night. You will work later in the day. I'm like, when I get off, just come use my space. Like
Aww.
For as long as you want, whenever you want, it's no big deal. And he was like, are you serious? And it was just, I guess he wasn't expecting that. So ended up being that like he was using my space. His apprentice at the time was there. Yeah. And then I think we offered it to Ryan also because there was like multiple of them that obviously couldn't tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, whoever. And like, he was using my machines and stuff till he could get his stuff.
Yeah.
And
all of his stuff was locked inside the shop.
Yeah. So I just let him use everything. And then that's how we like developed our friendship and like even further. And I remember at one time, like we got like yelled at because our shop just started spilling out into the hallway.
Oh, shit.
Because we had like apprentices. So like I remember Dahlia, like, I don't know, Dahlia and Bree, like my apprentice at the time were like doing paintings like on the floor in the hallway at Solo Salon in freaking Summerlin, which is like, I mean, if you know Summerlin, you know
and
Summerlin.
and you were
it's like
the only
all
people
old
tattooing.
Rich people.
And,
and they're probably having a hissy fit about it. But but anyway, yeah, they were like, yeah, you can't do that. So we had to like contain into this 100 square foot space. But
so you then from there, I'm assuming you found that larger space. There was already a tattoo shop for years, so you kind of lucked out there. You got to go in and where you're at now, still to this day, clean it up.
Yeah.
And you just restyled it again, which it looks fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
I was told you had a lot of input on that, and it looks really nice.
Yeah. So we just like, there was a whole shop of like really good people that didn't have like a place to go, that they were all together. They were like a tattoo family, So Chance and I decided that we just wanted to open up a tattoo shop together. And he knew going into our business partnership that I might not be there because we knew that our orders were coming up and that we likely wouldn't be able to be in Vegas anymore. So ended up that we opened up the shop, and within 6 months I had to move away. And he never wanted to own a shop. And there he was alone owning this shop without me. Like on paper, we owned it together, but I was gone and he was running that place for like 4 years by himself.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's kind of what I remember going in there and saying hi and stuff. And then I never saw you, but I heard about you. Or like this, like
I was just this weird mystical.
Like, you had a booth, but there was like you were never there. I heard you had some funny, so when you guys named it, it's Collective Tattoo, right?
Yeah, we really wanted to call it Friendship Tattoo. And our logo was going to be like a handshake. Yeah. And no one liked that.
No one did? Okay.
But it works out great. Like it's Collective Tattoo Parlor, and it's really nice because we are a collective of artists. Like every single one of us has a different style. So that's something that I really love is like when people ask me, like, oh, you own a shop, like what kind of styles do you do? And I'm like, everything, and I tell them what I do, what Chance does, and what all of our artists do. And I'm like, there's really an artist there for anyone who wants any type of tattoo. So I really do like that. And so I think Collective is
it Collective with a K?
Did he tell you about that? So me and Bree were like fucking with him so bad one day. And I remember the client that I had too, and we were all just hysterical. Chance isn't at the shop because we were taking turns. This was in our small green room. I call it the green room because I painted the walls green.
Oh, shit.
So we always call it the green room. That's the Summerlin shop. And we were like, okay, we have the name, but we got to fuck with them about the spelling. Yeah. And we were just like, I don't know. We did all these different we did Collective, like with the C or with the K in the middle and in the K.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was pretty ridiculous. And he was like trying to be really, really nice about it. He was like, well,
of course,
he's like, maybe we can just talk about this later. And I was like, then, dude, like literally, I don't know, a few months ago, there is a Collective Tattoo Parlor with a K that exists.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Collective Tattoo Parlors.
Yeah.
I also talked to Chance too. He was telling me some kind of crazy story. This is like every tattooer's, I think, one of their worst nightmares is the random snapping of your wrist. what did that happen? Like you broke your wrist and had to get a surgery or something?
Yes.
Like
we're really going to talk about that?
Okay. I don't know. I just heard it was I was like, that's wild. Like that's all of us never obviously want to hurt ourselves.
I have a nice little scar.
And you got surgery in Switzerland?
In Switzerland. It was emergency surgery in the middle of vacation.
Oh, shit.
We went there with some friends to go snowboarding, the Swiss Alps.
Fucking snowboarding, dude.
Right?
Like everybody's broken their...
I know. It was ridiculous. So I'm like, epic trick planned out is like, we spent about a week in Zurich and then we made our way over to Zermatt, which is like freaking like, if you looked up Christmas online, I mean,
the most beautiful.
It's the most beautiful. It's like this tiny village in like the middle of the Alps, right? Dang. It was so amazing. And so, yeah, we went snowboarding there and it was like the first of like 3 days that we were going to be snowboarding. And it was like the third run of the day. And I snapped my wrist. Yeah. And so it ended up like you knew exactly what happened. No, I was convinced that it was sprained. So my wrist is like this, right? And it's like, I felt it balloon up. It was like this big. And I'm just like, oh, it's just bent like this because it's swollen. And then we're going to go back to the chalet and we're going to straighten it out. I was thinking we'll just wrap it and straighten it back out and it'll be fine.
It'll buff out.
And my husband's like, no.
That's not good.
So we had to walk down like to the next lift and then start making our way down the mountain. Because it's huge. We weren't all the way down. We were just like, I don't know, halfway down or something. It's hard to kind of remember. But like we had to walk and like take these lifts down. And then we had to go to a nearby village. Like there's no cars in Zermatt or anything. So we had to take like an emergency medical taxi to get to the nearest hospital, like a village or two away or something like that called Visp. It's a place called Visp. But funny thing was also before that, we went and had like an emergency x-ray done. And it come to find out it's broken in multiple places or whatever. Oh. But like I was like, it's not. Like I straight told the lady. I was like, no.
I'm being real stubborn about this.
I was in my head like, this is like when you're going through shock. This is what happens. Like I was literally in my mind. I was like, Switzerland is conspiring against me to take my money and they're forcing me to have surgery so they can take my money.
Oh,
me,
shit.
a dumb American. I'm like, they have enough money. They're not needing my dumb American dollar. And so I don't know why. But anyway, so we go and we have the emergency surgery and they treated me like royalty because I was from Vegas. Like they were like so excited. And there was just a line of us in the emergency room all there for the same surgery. So
no shit.
Because it's like a ski snowboard town, right?
Yeah,
so like everyone's bones are broken from Zermatt, from snowboarding or skiing or whatever. So yeah, that was that situation. But like it was an in and out surgery. So we did the surgery like at midnight and then I slept a little while. And when I woke up, they had like multiple fresh bread and like fresh butter like waiting for me and like a little espresso.
Oh my God.
And it was like, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, if you had to get that surgery done anywhere, that's the
it
place
was going to be there.
Yeah.
And then we just took a train back to Zermatt and then we just finished vacation.
Holy shit. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, were you freaking out though about not being able to tattoo? That's like,
I was really
I quit snowboarding because of that.
Right.
When I opened up my shop in like 2003, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got a good concussion and couldn't remember my address when I was trying to check into my hotel. I didn't know.
My gosh.
I knew like half my name and I was like, all right, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's super scary. Yeah, that's way scarier than like breaking your wrist. But
so I stopped and then that's the last time I went snowboarding.
Oh gosh, it's probably really good. It's probably a really good idea.
Yeah.
And so then instead, I'm like skateboarding now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, I just got to be real careful with
I was at a kid's birthday party yesterday and they put the kid and my kids are like, dude, if you just flip it over and you could land on top of it. And I started to do it. And then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? This is like a total dad move that I'm just going to eat shit in front of everybody, break my elbow, and be real bummed out.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
Like
Yeah. I was pretty nervous, but the doctors in Switzerland were so amazing. Like they were like, this happens all the time. You're going to be perfectly fine. And they had really good instruction on, post-care of like, movements that I needed to do with my wrist. I actually wasn't in like a set cast or anything. Like it was like a removable one because I have a metal plate in there.
Okay.
And so like I would have to take my cast off throughout the day and like do these special movements. And then when I got home, I started painting like immediately. And I think that alone was like the best physical therapy I could have done, was like these fine movements. And I actually sold a lot of paintings like that to help with me not working. I was really blessed and fortunate that I was like, this is how I have to make money right now. Like anyone who wants a painting, I'm doing commissions. And I sold a bunch, and it was like really super special.
Good.
But I was going to traditional physical therapy. I was really on top of that. And I know some people are bad about that, but I was like, I'm working again.
Yeah.
And I think I was like out for 4 weeks and I was back to tattooing.
Oh.
It was insane.
Damn.
Like
That's scary, but I don't think it worked good that way.
Yeah, it was like 4 to 6 weeks. And because I remember I had a timeline. Like I remember when I had the surgery, and I remember like I canceled all these appointments. And then I was like, this day I'm going to work. I think it was like April 21st or some random days. I was like, yeah, because March had surgery, and then I was like, okay, April 21st will be. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, and I remember who like my first appointments were going to be. Some really good clients of mine from Utah. It was their whole family like gets tattooed by me.
Oh, cool.
And they were all coming out for the week. And so I knew that like they were going to be really understanding if I wasn't up my full game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it ended up being really good, and I'm back to normal.
Let's jump back into also your style, and like because I feel like you really did develop this beautiful style that's very unique. And I don't know, like at what point in time were you kind of like, yep, this is what I want to do, right? I mean, you, from what I see, is a lot of black work, dot work, very flowy and beautiful. I love flow, so I'm like very adamant about composition.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, so was there like a day where you were like, I don't know, were you just drawing and then this clicked and this is where you wanted to do and stuck with that?
Right. Yeah. So I knew I really wanted to get into composition is everything, right? I feel like I did a lot of tattoos I thought were going to be good in my past, but compositionally they were just like off, a little bit. And so I learned over the years that like to have a good tattoo, composition is key, and it needs to fit each person individually, like in a very specific way. So I knew that freehanding was going to be really important as well. I was really into doodling and stuff like in school before college. Like I've never been this really incredible, like fine artist. I've always been doodling or abstract, right? So going into kind of like the floral, like ornamental stuff was really helpful for me because my brain understood that.
Yeah.
And I knew that I could build flowers and ornamental designs based upon what the physique of my client is, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I've always found that's the best way to do it, drawing on.
Exactly. So I just kind of started leaning in that direction. Now I didn't get to start on huge pieces right away. You know, when you're dabbing into a new style, people aren't going to be like, yeah, I want a leg sleeve. So it kind of, this transition in my artistry happened at a really good time. So went right from when I moved from Vegas to Oregon, I was in a financial position that I was like, if I didn't work every day, that we were going to be okay. So I was able to do this financially. I was able to say no to a lot of things if I needed to, because I wanted to focus on this specific style.
That's a tough part in anyone's career.
It is. It's really, really tough. And I was really fortunate to have the financial freedom to be able to be in this space. So I had just moved to Klamath. I had opened up another private studio. This was not in my house. It was a really adorable bayfront, downtown Klamath Falls, Oregon. It was like in a 100-year-old building. It was really, really adorable. What? And when emails started coming in, I just said like, hey, I'm really focused on this type of design. So if I would love to do your tattoo, but it's really important to me that I put my spin on it and I kind of lean in this direction. And it would either be a yes or a no. But honestly, like Klamath Falls is a really small town, and people were just stoked that someone who cared about what they were doing was there tattooing.
Yeah. And a kind, approachable human.
And a kind, approachable human and a female.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't any really females there. Yeah. And so pretty much, I honestly don't even remember anyone saying like no. Like I don't even really recollect that so much. People were really open to it. So slowly but surely with each tattoo, I was able to kind of start getting into the style that I am today. And, my styles evolved a little bit. Sometimes it's a little more edgy graphic. Sometimes a little bit more like feminine.
Yeah.
And like filigree-ish. And then right now I'm really into just kind of doing some weird stuff.
Okay.
Like bringing back like my old art, and I've been doing a lot of fun sketches and things like that to try to like.
Ooh, yeah, you'll have to show me some more stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I have like I worked so long on getting like the foundations of a good tattoo going that now, like, it's weird. Once what I was trying to do in my apprenticeship, right? This funky kind of weird stuff was hard to execute because I didn't have all the foundations, right?
Yeah.
And the skill sets.
Yeah.
Now that I do, it's like I feel like I can pull from like the old me and like my old art that I used to do like in college, like prior to tattooing. And I can start putting that into tattoos now in a solid way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like this direction that I'm going right now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun.
Fun and fresh and new.
Yeah.
That's what you always need, those points in time in your life and career.
But I think that like when you're an artist and you really want to make that shift, you need to do it with confidence and patience. Yeah. And I really think that anyone can do this. If I could do it, then anyone can do it. It's really just a matter of like setting boundaries and then
communication
and good communication. And like, it's so important. You know, this is a whole thing. Like I'm literally like writing a seminar on this, to be honest.
I know.
Like,
I'm excited. I want to talk about this one.
About establishing trust with your clients.
Yeah.
Because it's so huge. If you want to further your career as a tattoo artist, you need to trust that your client trusts you. Because you cannot do your best work when you're walking on eggshells around your client or drawing on eggshells around your client. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be questioning everything that you do. When your client has that full trust in you, then you can blossom as an artist. So this communication via consultation or conversation or whatever needs to happen, that has to happen in depth.
The stepping stones to building the confidence in you.
Yes.
From your
And there's key language, key phrases, and key ways you can start to build that trust with your client. It is not difficult. You just have to put yourself out there and be confident enough in yourself to be able to like get that new person or that new client to be able to trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want to hear more about the seminars because like I was fortunate enough to be a part of your Metanoia Tattoo Gathering.
Yeah.
The first one just passed, right? Super exciting.
It was amazing.
You did such a good job with everything. I was so impressed. I really was. Like I sat there and I was just felt like I was like a sponge. I was just like soaking it all in. I was really inspired. Everybody there had such a great positive attitude too. I mean, it was a room full of just like glowing. Everybody was so cool. It was so cool. And you did such a fantastic job. You hold yourself so well. You got up there. The seminars were really cool. They were very informative. Laura did such a good job. Lauren
Gregory.
Okay, I said Laura. Hers was so good. I missed yours, unfortunately. So I'm looking forward to hopefully catching it next year.
Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah. I think we're gonna I feel like my seminar, the point of my seminar was to kind of set the tone for what Metanoia Tattoo Gathering is. And it's about, you know, appreciating where you are as an individual and not like looking to anyone else and what they're doing. Like you
fitting in,
are on your own path and you are on your own journey and you can't be comparing yourselves because you don't know what this person is, what their life is like outside of tattooing and how it differs from yours. So mine was establishing balance, the key to a sustainable tattoo career. And it was a lot like centered around, you know, making sure that you unhurry your life.
Yeah.
And like being okay with rest. Basically, all that to say, I will be kind of revising the seminar that I did, or at least this is my plan. I'm still like in this transition of planning for Metanoia
taking everything that you learned from the first one. And
yes. And so I want people who attended last year to still be able to resonate with everything that we do for 2025. But I kind of want to like revise and revamp and rework the seminar that I did so that new people coming in can also have the opportunity to hear it because it really sets the tone for Metanoia. Metanoia is transformation. Transformation of mind and heart is really like what Metanoia means. Okay. And that's what I want people coming in to understand is like, you don't have to stay where you're at in your mindset, where you feel like you're constantly comparing, you're constantly competing, you're striving, you're working, you're grinding to get to the next level and like showcase what you can do. Like, fuck that shit. Yeah. That's bullshit. We have this one freaking life that we get to live, and we need to appreciate all of the beautiful moments in between point A and point B. You know?
Yeah.
One thing that I've just noticed so much for myself too, that I had to like unlearn and undo about my life was like, you know, with being in the military, a lot had to do with it. It was about like, okay, I opened this shop, but in 2 fucking years, I got to open another one. So I can't enjoy what I'm doing right here. So I'm like reaching for the next thing and what's the plan and how is this? And then it's hard to like really truly value what you're living in right now. And that's what I really want to champion people in is to have high regard and high value for where they're at in this moment, regardless of if they're at where they want to be in the future. Like when you have this peace and love and appreciation for your life where it is right now, it makes that process so much more beautiful to get to where you need to go because you're enjoying everything about getting there. You know what I mean? And Metanoia, I think it is just bringing together a community of women and my biggest heart, mothers in tattooing to just like lean on each other and just be there for one another, share their stories so you feel less alone, and just show each other love and support.
Yeah, help each other navigate through it all.
Yeah,
inside and outside the tattoo shop.
Exactly. Cool. Like it was seriously like the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. There's nothing like this in tattooing.
No, I know. That's why I love it. And we connected before this even came about, and I felt like that was just a person that I wanted to like learn from too, and I really enjoy surrounding myself with people that inspire me, and you fall in that category.
Oh, so thank you.
It was cool to see your project come together.
Thank you.
And not only come together, like even every aspect of it coming together, like the branding and everything, the presentation is like, that's where I guess your advertising kind of maybe like passions from in the past all come together.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for that. So I love it all. I think you did a fantastic job. It was really cool.
Thank you.
So I'm looking forward to seeing where you take this and where it grows and goes. And I think it'll be really rad. And I don't know, one thing I noticed is I was so incredibly impressed with how people came from all over the country, this
and the world.
Yeah.
I had a Canadian and I had a beautiful girl from Finland.
Finland. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I spoke with her for a little bit.
What the heck?
That's flattering.
I remember like the payment coming through and I was like,
holy shit.
I was like, what's happening? But East Coast, California, Arizona, like the only people that were from Vegas were like my friends.
Yeah. And then it's so
like
cool.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, dude.
It just spread. And like with Metanoia, it's so much more than like, I'm not trying to like push this out there into the world. Like I'm a big believer in like this Metanoia is going to reach the people that need it.
Yeah.
Because not everyone's going to be on board with something like this. It's a lot of love. It's laugh. We cry. We eat together. We're sharing stories. This is not like some hardcore, like tattoo convention situation. This is a coming together of it's a support system. Metanoia is different than even what I thought it was going to be. Like it's so much more of me just facilitating a community of women to come together and like support one another. And like I could probably like dip out and it could still thrive. You know what I mean? Do I want to dip out? Totally no way. But like, I mean, if they're as passionate as they are about it, like I think they could keep it going if they wanted to. You know, like it's not, I don't know. Sure. It's just
I don't know, I feel like as artists we're real sensitive to the energy that's around us. And I've always very much so tried to gravitate towards positive, healthy energy.
Yeah.
And which I don't know, I kind of could go so many different directions, but when I was in there, I felt it. Like I remember I got up in front of everybody and I was kind of nervous, like talking in front of everybody. And then I had that little incident with my wife in a car accident. I was super worried, but I found myself just like wanting to hug everybody. I like teared up in front of everybody. I was like, it was cool. It was great. It was cool.
It was beautiful. And like, to me, that just said so much about the energy in the space that like, everyone was welcome to like be their full authentic self in that environment because no one was worried about what anyone was going to think.
Yeah.
And like that, I think that's why a lot of us could break down and cry is like, we've all like held so much of this like hurt and pain and insecurity in our souls for so long. And then we finally were in the space to like welcome just letting that out. Like there were so many like divine things that happened while we were there, like connections with women that happened that were like, it's very personal. So I'm not going to share other people's story, but there was things that happened that I was like, are you kidding me? Like they just met just now. And like, it was just really intense. And like, I was so appreciative of like the positive feedback that I got from everybody. Like people noticed all of the very small details of the event that I was really OCD about, but for good reason. Like, I was really obsessed with the food that was going to be there. I was like, this needs to be
good,
that.
By the way.
Yeah, it was good food.
I was like over there eating double. I was like seconds. I'm like, what's going on?
It was so good. But like, I wanted these women to feel like almost a retreat-like experience, and that they were being pampered and really well taken care of. And like, food is a huge part of community. So that was a really big deal to me, was to have like really good gourmet, like healthy, nutritious foods and lots of snacks and things like that too, to make sure that everyone, you know, was taken care of while they were there. And like the detail of like the order of the seminars was very strategic. And,
you're curating an album essentially.
Yes, the whole curation of the entire event. Like, I was very strategic, and like I spent an entire year, like I was hardly tattooing. Like I was like tattooing like once a week because I was just so focused on this. And you know, it was like a big sacrifice for our family to do it, but it was worth it because like when it came down to the event, like people noticed that stuff. And not that I was like looking for a specific recognition in that, but like there was a reason for my madness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just feels good. Like you put those endless sleepless nights and stuff into things, and if someone just brings one person that just has to be like, the coffee mugs are beautiful. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, my sister made these, and we chose the dyes and all. You know, like I know you put a lot of work into it, and it showed. It was cool.
Yeah. It was just really important that everyone knew all of the care and concern that went into it, because they're the reasons that I did this. Yeah. Their lives were the reason that it was so important that everything was just as it was supposed to be. But then at the same time, not to keep dragging it out, I knew there was going to be this overall grace for anything that could go awry. Yeah. Because I knew the women coming to the event were going to know and understand all the effort that was put into it, that if something did go wrong,
I'm constantly trying to learn how to teach myself that too. Yeah. It's like, don't be so freaking hard on yourself, man. Like you can only try and to execute perfection so much, and perfection always isn't what you really want, you know, because you'll have these fun accidents in the event or whatever that end up teaching you something like, oh shit, I can apply this for next year's event.
Yeah.
There were so many great questions everybody was asking. I was just really impressed. I was back there taking notes on my phone. It was cool. So I'm looking forward to, like I said, seeing where you take it and like what you're going to do.
Well, we're doing 3 days in 2025.
Oh, okay.
That was like the only like feedback change really like that I received was like, we need more time.
Yeah.
You know, and
it goes by so quick.
So we're gonna do 3 days for 2025, and I'm really excited about that.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, shit. What else is going on in your life? God. You have a lot going on. So you're
always
running a shop with Chance. Mm-hmm. You've got a great team over there.
We do.
Everybody's super talented, and I've been personally tattooed in there multiple times.
I know. I know.
Yeah, and then like, what else you got going on? You're obviously a mama.
I am a mom.
You have 1 or 2 kids?
2.
2? Okay.
2. My son his name's Koa, and he's 9. Okay. And my daughter is 13.
Oh, okay.
Her name's Kaya.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a teenager.
Damn. Mine just turned 3 this weekend, and she seems like a teenager already.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy to have a teenager, because when you're a mom, you're still just always going to think that your child is 3 years old.
Yeah.
Like when I go to work, I'm thinking of my kids as 3-year-olds, and then I come home and I'm like, like, why are you a teenager and a 9-year-old? Like, it's so crazy. It's a trip. It is a trip. And it's like, it goes so fast. And like, not to like reiterate, but a huge reason I have heart for moms is like, you know, as a woman in the industry trying to make a name for yourself, but then you have this calling to be a mom as well. You're trying to navigate and balance like growing your craft as a tattooer and artist. But then you're like, I want to invest all I can into my children, because that I won't get back, you know? And so I'm a big advocate of like, just chill.
Yeah.
Like, do your tattoos, do your thing. Of course, like make progress, but focus your energy on your kids when they're little, because that time is so fleeting, and don't let anyone fucking tell you that that's not okay.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? That's that's where the comparison kills comes in, where you can't compare yourself to the people around you. When you have kids, like your energy is on them, and like enjoying them, like truly enjoying the fact that you have these little humans that you brought into the world. And so that's what I've constantly have to tell myself too. You know, like my kids are getting a little older now, so I'm starting to have more freedom, it's been really fun, like going to more concerts with my husband, more impromptu date nights and like little trips and stuff like that. And it's been really special and awesome. And I feel like I'm getting to be a kid again, but I also like don't have a lot of regrets because I remember I like really invested as much as I could into my kids when they were little. And I'm obviously still investing into them, but it's like a different kind of investment now.
I always like to hear any type of little tidbits or advice and knowledge that you could offer to young women getting into tattooing or obviously experience. I mean, it sounds like we've given already a lot of like great knowledge.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I have.
I don't know, like young tattooers right now is such a different world. So I don't know. I think like you said, kind of. I don't know. Do you have anything to go about like?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is so much, and anything that I would say as like wisdom or advice comes from my own experience, right? Yeah. And, I've been tattooing since 2009. I've gone through a lot of like ups and downs in that. And like, I've had times where I'm like crying in bed at night, like before I go to sleep, like that was such a terrible tattoo. I fucked that person up so bad. I'm like so embarrassed, but then you keep going and you learn from that. And that would be any advice I would give is just to keep going. But like with that, just stay freaking humble. Like, don't be a jerk. Don't be an ass. Like, don't care about social media in the way that people or the way that social media is telling you to care about it.
Yeah.
Like I think that has done a lot of damage to people and their feelings about who they are and their artistry is through comparison of themselves toward other people on social media. So I think that is like a really huge thing that you should just completely omit from your life.
Yeah.
And whatever you need to do that, do it. So that would be a huge thing that I would say. And that's from my own experience. I got caught up in trying to like be like, okay, well, I guess I need to do this now.
Be viral or do whatever I have to do to
thinking
get
like,
more
it's for my
views.
all in the name of my business, and then at the same time sacrificing my mental health because of it. It was so bad that I fucking like canceled my Instagram that I've had for 10 years and I have a new one.
Yeah.
I went from, 20 something thousand followers and now I'm like, 1,000 or whatever. Just because some of those
people that like you.
Yeah,
that you fucking
what I mean?
actually know.
That came over, but I'm like, that makes me so happy because these people actually like I've connected with them or tattooed them or whatever. And it's like, I just symbolically wanted to leave my past situation behind. And it wasn't always like that. There was just a weird period that like, anyway, I'm not saying like other people need to do that. That was just a personal thing that I wanted to do.
But I like that you weren't afraid to do it.
I wasn't afraid to do it.
Everybody's afraid to let go. I mean, I have like a hoarder mentality on a lot of things. Yeah. Like I try to go through my Instagram and like, should I delete this? Should I not? I'm like, what the fuck does it matter? I don't even post on there.
It just doesn't matter because that's not your life. That's not where your value is, And so I think that you should just get rid of that. I think like my word of advice right now is like, with that and with the anger that I've had toward social media is like, I'm just going back old school. Like I was like so crazy busy because of social media for so long that I let my website expire. I wasn't like doing any of this stuff. Like I refused to hand out business cards or any promotion because I was so busy. Now, with everything's changed, I'm like, I'm so glad it's changed because I'm like building a fresh website for people to actually connect with me and get to know the real me on there and like share my story and share photos of my family. And I'm making fucking business cards and
flyers
like,
to leave at the coffee shop shit.
Straight up. Like I'm going to make like we like to eat out a lot and go to concerts and stuff. I'm making little packets and I'm going to like take little packets with me everywhere I go. And I'm going to leave that shit everywhere I go. And I'm really excited about like taking it back old school, like what it once was. And so I would say, have a little more old school mentality.
Keep it local kind of, approach to things.
Yes. Yeah. Keep it local because
you still have to do that. Like,
you have to. People aren't going to always know you from around the fucking world. Like that's.
And your tattoo needs to look good in real life, not just on Instagram.
Yes, exactly. It needs to look good in real life.
At the coffee shop when they're sharing who did your tattoo type stuff. If it's not standing out, it ain't going to fuck it.
Exactly.
Like, no one's going to talk about it.
Exactly. So. And like my word of mouth people are like my favorite ones. They're like, oh, I heard about you through this person that I met at some random place. Like I have a client right now, like she's a older, like retired lady, and she met one of my super young clients like at a bar, and she was like, "Who did your tattoo? I need that." And so I have like this new client who she has a sleeve, but I'm reworking the entire thing. And I'm like, that was an in-person connection that she made. And that I'm like, I love that. And it's super exciting. And I'm really getting into wanting to dive into tattoo history more. I think that's kind of where a lot of I want to like have a lot more knowledge about tattooing, where it came from, the different styles, why they exist. Like I want to really focus on that. And so I would really recommend that other people get into that too. And these are things that I feel like Chance has held in really high regard. And I have really wanted to like kind of get on that level as well.
I'm guilty of not like, especially in my younger years of tattooing, just being like, oh, that's cool, man. But like, I just want to like do my graffiti and draw or whatever. I was just, just get obsessive. Or you shit on certain styles of tattooing. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, tribal. Yeah. Let's do a tribal tattoo. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, it's all nostalgic now. So and nostalgic. Like, and you see that there is this art form to each and every genre.
Yeah.
And there's people that just crush it. And then, it's cool.
Yeah. I think just overall, just appreciation for wherever you are at now, having a humble heart, and those like appreciation and humility. I think those are the key elements that are going to like be the driving force of a successful tattoo career, because those key elements are going to like translate in every aspect of your life. Like whether
I think they only attract people. Like you don't need to constantly tell anybody that you're anything. They should know just by seeing your actions and whatever you're creating or everything. So
I agree.
That's fun.
I totally agree.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. This was really fun. I knew this would flow good because you and I have always like had great conversations.
Yes.
So, we hope to have some like bigger, maybe like round tables in the future. So I would love to have you back and specifically talk about tattoo history or whatever else we want to talk
learning.
About. Yeah.
Chance gave me a big book and I'm reading through it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have some fun projects I'm working on the back end specific to tattoo history. So,
that's awesome.
But let's see, how does everybody reach you nowadays? I mean,
okay. Yeah, email is great. I'm in process of working on my website, so it's not quite live yet, but it might be by the time this comes out.
Yep.
If you want to reach me on Instagram, it's at M2the B and my email is maribethklaartattoos@gmail.com.
See? Importance of mailing list too.
Yeah,
I want to go over that too.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have that integrated on my website is like mailing list. So that way, like I don't have to worry about Instagram to get stuff out there to the world. Like it goes straight to the people who actually care about it because they signed up for the mailing list.
Yep.
But yeah, just email and Instagram. And I
your Collective Tattoo.
Collective Tattoo is our shop. So feel free to stop by anytime.
Yeah, here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah. And we've got the Metanoia Tattoo Gathering coming up in 2025, right?
Yes. Yep. Late February 2025. The website, please go to it, fill out the form, the contact form if you want any information on it whatsoever, and we will get back to you. It's gonna be a blast. And then like our Instagram is, we have tons of videos and explanations of like what we've done, what it actually is. But the website is a more clear vision, and we have some like videos on there as well that like can really explain, what we've got going. And
fantastic
stuff,
videos too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Awesome.
I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, man.
You're the best.
It means a lot to me that you took the time out of your day to be here. So
it's I'm so grateful that this was my first podcast in the
whole
wide world.
Yeah. I haven't done one myself, like gone on someone else's, but that's good. I got invited the other day to be on a couple, so I was like,
ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So
congrats.
But cool. Well, thank you so much and have a good one.
All right.
Thank you guys. Tune in and don't forget to check out everything Maribeth is doing. It's amazing. Have a good day.